No, we keep going with that. Even when, like, the main story is going someplace else, we come back to the wedding.
Just keep the pedal floored.
Just keep the pedal floored. But...
Hi, this is Randall here with No Market Media.
And I'm Matt. Today, Rand and I are reviewing a new movie that's a sequel to another movie we've already reviewed. Today, we're looking at Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It stars Ben Schwartz, Idris Elba, Colleen O'Shaughnessy, Jim Carrey, and James Marsden. It's directed by Jeff Fowler, who also directed the first Sonic film, as well as the upcoming Pink Panther animated film.
After being marooned on the Mushroom Planet by Sonic, Dr. Robotnik uses his superior intellect to send a signal for help, which is answered by the echidna Knuckles. Together, they go on a quest of revenge against Sonic in search for the Master Emerald. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 had about a $90 million budget and has so far received pretty average reviews from critics, but audiences really seem to love it. So Sonic the Hedgehog 2 it's quite an experience to watch, honestly. There's a lot going on here, and, it's not, like, all great, but it's mostly entertaining. I guess the thing that I would say first impressions is, if you're expecting a whole lot of video game adaptation, you're not going to get that, really, at all, until, like, the last third, maybe. Then some, like, Easter eggs start showing up from video games. But you will get a heck of a smattering of other pop culture references and just crazy one-liners from Jim Carrey. So if you're in that kind of mood, this is the movie for you.
Yep. Yeah, I would echo a lot of that. For me, this movie was fun. I guess that would be my first impression. I had fun watching this movie. Our characters do some absolutely ridiculous things in this movie. Just about all of our characters stuff too. But, as you were mentioning too, there's enough references and stuff in this movie for, some for, like, kids and others for, like, adults. So, different ages sprinkled in there that you're going to get some chuckles out of watching this film.
And some for movie buffs, but that's for later.
Alright, so, as you were going over with the premise and stuff, Sonic's trying to stop, Knuckles and Robotnik from getting this Master Emerald, and he's somewhat, like, the key to finding this. Really, I think the story is Sonic's really looking for friends or whatever that are kind of a bit more like him. I think that's kind of like the big part of the story is he goes on and does some different shenanigans with different people and stuff that's kind of fun or whatever. But I think the base of it is I think Sonic kind of getting a little bit more of like a belonging thing, I would say.
You see, that's the thing though. Like, that's not the story. That's stuff that does happen throughout the movie progressing. And it does become important. It's not like that stuff's not important. But the story is all about the treasure hunt. They like the hunting for this and why Knuckles is after it. We all know why Robotnik's after it. Ultimate power. Come on, he's Robotnik. So, no problems there. But yeah, all of that friendship stuff that happens along the way is important. To build Sonic up, like why he does things, what his motivations are. Basically, to push forward to get to the MacGuffin. I mean, the Master Emerald! That Master Emerald!
Yeah!
Listen, it's a kid's movie.
It is a kid's movie. Well, I think so, too. Like, that friendship journey isn't just a journey for Sonic, but it's also a journey for some of our other characters and stuff, too, or whatever.
Tails, definitely.
Tails, yeah.
But I don't want to spoil anything else. I mean, Sonic and Tails are friends, that's well known. So everything else you're going to have to watch. So these are some pretty fun characters. Like I said, a lot of the story's in service of giving Sonic the growth that he needs to become bigger, better, more, The character, I guess the extended characters that just kind of come back from the first one and like, oh wow, okay, didn't see that coming, is fun and entertaining. I could not have imagined that this seemingly one-off character from the first movie was going to come back.
Yeah.
And then, oh, here's another one. And then, oh, here's another one.
Yep.
But the one character that I thought was underserved, which is weird, I thought he was way underserved until the end, was Robotnik.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, he's kind of just doing his scheming thing. And Jim Carrey does his thing. He does his wacky, out of this, way and out of this world kind of movements that Jim Carrey's known for. But I thought Robotnik, until the end, till the climax, was kind of just there.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's still a Sonic movie, and it's mostly about Sonic and Tails and those characters.
I did like the introduction of Robotnik in this movie, and kind of the stuff that we get in the Mushroom World was where we left him, at the end of the first Sonic film and stuff too. I think this movie lets Jim Carrey be Robotnik more, even though we don't see it, like you're pointing to, until like the end. But I think this movie lets us embrace that kind of wackiness, Robotnikness, or whatever, Jim Carrey's wackiness.
Yeah.
For Robotnik in this thing. And really, I think that affects almost all of our characters. I think almost all of our characters embrace their wackiness a bit more. From even like, our Sonic and Tails and Knuckles characters to our human characters. I think our human characters are even more exaggerated, over the top, doing wacky, ridiculous stuff. Mostly near the end of the movie.
Near the end of the movie.
But throughout the movie, I would say too, like they kind of meet that Jim Carrey wackiness a bit in this film.
Bring Jim Carrey onto your set.
Yeah.
As long as you're not Tommy Lee Jones.
What's the point, big boy? Has anybody ever told you you have a serious impulse control problem?
Me personally, I think this is a comedy. At least for me. I was laughing quite a bit through this movie. And even some of our, like I was saying too with characters, it's not just Jim Carrey winging and coming up with stuff on the fly that makes it a comedy. I think generally if you have Jim Carrey in your movie most of the time, it's going to make it a comedy. But there's enough like scripted jokes and like lines and stuff. And like we were saying, like the references, some of our references aren't just like a wink and a nod to anyone who gets it. Like they're straight up jokes. Like if you get the reference, you're laughing at it, not just because it's conclusion, but you understand why they included it in there.
Oh, great. The Winter Soldier.
So me, I guess it's a comedy with maybe some action adventure sprinkled in.
So yeah, as a video game adaptation, if you go in thinking that, disappointment. Straight disappointment. Don't think it's a video game adaptation at all, in fact. But as a comedy, it's actually kind of fun to watch. A family-friendly comedy, kids movie. My real concern with comedies in general is that how poorly they age, generally.
Mm-hmm.
And this one uses a lot of pop culture references. Now, it makes sense for Sonic. Sonic, as a character, is always hip. He was the cool, edgy, character versus Mario.
Yep.
That was the whole point of him. So of course he's going to be laying down some pop culture references. But as a movie, I'm like, I don't know how well that'll age, because eventually, if you don't get the reference, it won't be funny.
Yep.
I just got goosebumps. Wait a second. Did you steal that from Oprah?
I think that's a very good point too. I think this is a movie that's probably most enjoyable the first time you see it, and if you watch it, pretty soon after it's released stuff too. Because I agree, a lot of those, references people aren't gonna latch on to or whatever.
Listen, 10 years from now, no one's gonna get that Vin Diesel rock joke. It just won't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
There were two orders of heroes. They've been fighting each other for centuries.
Like Vin Diesel and The Rock.
Alright, so what I didn't see coming is this really wackadoo random wedding subplot. And I don't want to say that's not strictly speaking a spoiler, but there's just a lot of zany things that happen in that part of the movie that are all based around this particular subplot that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wow, that's just, as I mentioned earlier, that's just a way to get this character who was in the first movie back in this movie.
Yep.
They have no reason to be there, And in all honesty, that whole section has no reason to be as funny as it is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fun. It was a fun, unexpected thing. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Like they did her dirty in the
in
the first movie, and all of this makes sense. Although, why is it here? That's what I didn't see coming.
What a coincidence. Now, I would like to reiterate, Randall and I do not see what we write before we do it ever. But yeah, I'm 100% with you. You know what? We mentioned the wedding at like the beginning kind of thing, you know, as a way to kind of like get some of our characters off to doing something, right? I did not expect us to spend as much time on this wedding separate from the main story that we actually do. Like, me watching this, I'm like, all right, the wedding's kind of run its course. I mean, we set up a little bit as like a joke. All right, we get it. We reached the joke of it. No, we keep going with that. Even when like the main story is going someplace else, we come back to the wedding.
Just keep the pedal floored.
Just keep the pedal floored.
Oh, and if you screw up my wedding, I will end you.
There's one thing that both of us probably did not see coming, that we're not putting here, but listen, in the entire theater, 2 of us probably laughed at this joke about that was a reference to Army of Darkness, and I'm not going to ruin it. Just say it's a reference to Army of Darkness, and it felt like we were the only ones who got it. We were watching this with a group of people who, even after we watched it, it's like, what were you guys laughing at? Oh, it's an Army of Darkness reference. So, for the eagle-eared out there, be on the lookout for that if you haven't seen this already.
All right, I did have fun watching this film, and I think that's the biggest thing for me. It's crazy, it's zany and stuff. I don't really look too much into really like the plot of the story or like the lessons, because they're just kind of in there. This movie is mainly just have fun. We have a whole bunch of random different scenes that's the whole goal of that scene, is to be fun. So for that, I think it works out. It's good for, I think, audiences of several different age groups and stuff too. There's a little bit to enjoy. Just don't go into this movie expecting a whole lot out of it.
What a coincidence. I wrote down that this is a movie I had fun with. Plain and simple. I had fun. It's hard for me to turn my brain off for movies a lot of the times. I mentioned that in the Caveman review. Like, I don't know. Sometimes it's just difficult. But you know what? This one, it's a kid's movie. It's made for kids. I just had fun with it, and that was enough for me. I especially liked the last third of the movie. The when we're getting to the conclusions and everything that goes on there is when finally you start seeing more video game references. You start seeing more, I don't want to say action. There's plenty of action in this like movie, but there's a particular thing where I was like, oh, he's going to do this. and then it happened, and I was like, I'm good. I'm good with that. So it's fun.
For a guy named Knuckles, you are really bad at punching.
Well, if you guys have seen Sonic the Hedgehog 2, we want to know if you guys had fun watching this movie as Randall and I did. Let us know in the comments below. Also, be sure to check out some of our other reviews. We have other new movie reviews, flashback movie reviews, take a look at TV shows, and we have deeper dive discussions.
And of course, don't forget to go check us out over on Facebook. We post on Facebook the day before what's coming up next on the YouTubes. We also post some things from other fandoms of ours. If you don't have Facebook, don't worry about it. Just make sure to go check out our YouTube page. We upload new videos regularly. For now, I'm Randall with No Market Media. I'll see everyone next time.
And I'm Matt. Have a good day, everyone. Next time on No Market Media. Please consider checking out some of our other videos.